I'm Amber.
Hi, I'm Charlotte.
Hi, I'm Corinne.
Hiya, I'm Danielle.
Hi, I'm Kelly.
And together we are UnfiltHERed, where the her is no longer silent.
UnfiltHERed is the coming together of 5 neurodivergent women, and together we will be discussing all things neurodiversity: autism, ADHD, parenting, being parent carers, inclusion, and how these are led by our experiences of womanhood.
All voices are welcome here, and we do not discriminate. Our goal is to create a real, inclusive, safe space and community for everyone to be their unfiltered self.
This space is all about community and not competition, empowering others through their differences and removing stigma.
Whether you are here for yourself or a loved one, you are welcome here. So come and join us in this unfiltered conversation today.
Just a quick disclaimer before we begin. Even though we discuss certain medical conditions such as autism and ADHD, we are not medical professionals and cannot offer any medical advice. And this is not a diagnostic tool. This is a tool to be used in terms of your education and to gain support and clarity. But please don't take any medical advice from this. If you do have any concerns, please go and speak to your GP. Also, please note we are all neurodiverse, so you're going to get a lot of talking over each other. We're going to swear a little bit, and sometimes we're going to forget what we're saying mid-sentence, and that's okay. This is a female-based platform that aims to empower the voices of women who often, especially within the neurodivergent community, tend to be lost. As we are all females, we are all born females, we can only give our lived experience as females. But obviously, regardless of gender, you are welcome here, as this aims to be an inclusive space. I hope you enjoy the episode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Well, that stopped me at tracks.
Kelly, you right there?
Yeah, she just flew off the chair. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this week's episode. We have been asked to talk about dopamine hacks, the positive dopamine hacks, and also the other side, which is the negative, and how we impact them in our daily life. And who's next?
I think it's a really important topic to speak about, especially when you're someone who has ADHD, because obviously there are negative dopamine cravings, I guess you can say, where people can chase dopamine in, not great ways, which can lead you to being unhealthy physically, but also can affect your mental health and your financial health. So it is a really important topic, I think, because we can maybe highlight those negatives to people that may be, experiencing it without realizing what they're doing. I know for many years, being an absolute menace in the shops, I didn't realize that I was actually, just chasing the dopamine hit. So it will be good to highlight things like that for people, but then we can also offer some tips and recommendations for healthy dopamine hacks, which I think will be really useful to people.
We could, discuss what is dopamine, because some people might not even know what dopamine is. I mean, I didn't until like last year.
Dopamine plays a crucial role in understanding ADHD, for example. Basically, dopamine is a neurotransmitter, a chemical messenger in the brain that plays a significant role in various cognitive and behavioral functions. In the context of ADHD, dopamine is a key player in understanding the condition. In individuals of ADHD, there is evidence to suggest that the brain's regulation of dopamine is different from that of a neurotypical individual. Dopamine is involved in motivation, reward, attention, and executive function, which is basically the ability to plan, organize, execute tasks, etc. The brain's reward system relies heavily on dopamine. In people with ADHD, this system may be less responsive to rewards, making it challenging to sustain focus on tasks that do not provide immediate gratification or interest. Medicines commonly prescribed for ADHD, such as stimulants, work by increasing the availability of dopamine in the brain. These medications can improve attention, focus, and impulse control. It's actually really interesting, because I know when I take my ADHD meds, I feel that same kind of pleasure feeling that you get when you have dopamine. So that really does make a lot of sense. Impulsivity, which is a hallmark of ADHD, may be linked to dysregulation of dopamine. Individuals with ADHD may have difficulty inhibiting impulse behaviors due to a difference in the dopamine functioning. Dopamine plays a role in executive functions, which are often impaired in individuals with ADHD. Deficits in executive function can affect planning, organization, time management, and decision making. People with ADHD may struggle with motivation, initiating tasks that require sustained effort, and dopamine's role in motivation can help explain many challenges, etc., etc. It goes on and on, but I think
So it's a chemical message to your brain's reward center, basically.
Yeah.
So somebody with ADHD perhaps would have to work harder at hitting those markers for feeling motivated, rewarding yourself, feeling good. So that's why people with ADHD chase that dopamine hit, because it's not naturally firing in your brain.
Yeah, and it makes perfect sense, really, because obviously, you know, when you get someone who's like really well organized and they're so upbeat, and they must get that dopamine hit from getting shit done. Whereas someone like me is like, I'd rather go and have another Amazon delivery. That gives me my dopamine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why it makes sense.
It's funny you should say that, because everyone talks about, obviously, I do have some traits of ADHD. You know, I've got really high word count. I love lists. I like being organized. I hyper focus on stuff. But for me, like someone said to me, well, if you have got ADHD, you've got the ADHD that gets shit done.
Yeah.
Because I am a bit of a finisher. Like I will plan something, but I wouldn't have loads and loads of open lists.
Yeah.
I would execute that list and get it done. That's my hit. When I get stuff done, it's not in the planning. It's I love crossing stuff off lists. I'm like, get
and that's
it
the
done.
thing, though. People don't realise that ADHD, like autism, is a spectrum, and there are different types of ADHD. You know, like I've got combined ADHD. That's what I was diagnosed with, and you can meet somebody else again. Like, you know, they say you can't have two autistic people that are going to be the same. They're unique individuals, and it's the same with ADHD. And then you've also got to take into account, you know, when you've got comorbid conditions that affect each other, and there's so many different factors, even like how you've been raised. Those kind of things, you know, are instilled in you when you are built, you know, raised with better habits. Like I was in a household that was a little bit erratic, so there's certain habits that weren't necessarily built in me that I'm trying to now build on. So you kind of go against the grain a little bit, whereas there's just so many different factors, and people can be really ignorant sometimes and think, oh, you've got ADHD, you must fit into this little box. Whereas, like you said, Kelly, you have, if you were diagnosed with ADHD, you could potentially be the kind of person who gets shit done, and that's your, you know, your thing, your focus. Whereas someone like me, I feel like I'm up and down. So there are many days when I'm absolutely useless, even though I do constantly try. I just feel like everyone else's timeline is kind of going at a normal pace, whereas mine's on fast forward and then I'm in slow motion. So it's always like struggling to keep up. But when I do hit that, you know, when you get that sweet spot, I am like a machine, and I can get more done than most people like that, because I am a problem solver. So I'll find a really quick way of getting something done, and I'll get it done sometimes even better, if that makes sense. I just wish that I was like that all the time, but I can't be. So I feel like there are many people with ADHD, potentially like you, who are at that sweet spot a lot more, and because that's your dopamine that you're constantly striving for, which is amazing. You're like my hero. I need to get
don't.
No, I do. You get shit done, babe, honestly. And I'm just like,
but I have to wake up in the night and write down things. That ain't normal, is it? I literally wake up like, I'm asleep, and I wake up and I'm like, I've got to write that down.
No, but last year when I was going through my insomnia, which I realized was my Red Bull addiction, and I really missed my insomnia because I was a lot better then.
So productive.
Yeah, I was so productive because I weren't sleeping, but obviously landed to be in hospital. But I was writing you know, to-do lists, and I often write to-do lists. Like sometimes the front of my phone is a to-do list to remind me of things, but I'm still not able to execute things. Like no matter what, the to-do list just grows and grows and grows and grows, and I'm constantly attacking it, but it doesn't ever go down. It's just constantly.
Yeah, I'm similar. I mean, I finish every day with a list that I bring over into the next day. I never finish a to-do list. I've always got something from yesterday on today's list.
Oh, I got shit from last
Depending on my
night.
mood, it might be on tomorrow's list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's stressful. And I
Yeah.
think that's why I've been so like just on a bit of a downer lately. Because I look around and I'm like, how are people just managing to even just get through the day of the normal and then able to do extra things and little side projects and even jump into the group chat? Like, I struggle to just get through the day sometimes on the most basic of things that I need to do. Like, my executive dysfunction it's a lot. And I think after a while, when you're going around in that loop, it gets to the point where you're like, oh my God, I can't take this anymore. If that makes sense. Like, when is it going to give? And then I'll have those superhuman couple of days, but then I'll go back to being this this person.
But I think it all kind of comes down to, though, that we all do place far too many demands on ourselves.
Yeah.
Really, you know, because if you're out of bed where you should be, looking semi-human, and your kids are where they should be, and you've got a bit of a plan for dinner, and you've been to work, or you know, you've done a little bit of cleaning, we place pressure on ourselves, I think, to always hit that superhuman bit where you're launching something new, doing a radio interview, recording a podcast, speaking to someone, supporting someone, putting a training on, writing a program, whatever. But I think it's become normal.
Yeah.
But actually, most people don't do all of those things.
True.
Most people just get up, go about their business, feed their kids, go to work.
The basics.
And sit.
See, I really struggle with, like, I hate to say, but like housework, I hate it. And the only reason I do it is because I know I have to, because no one else is going to do it. But the one thing that really helps me, and as soon as it's on, for some reason, I will just feel more inclined to do it, is music. Always. When I'm watching the parts, the music has to be on. And it's that whole, like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but when music's on, it just makes me feel alive.
Yeah.
You do feel like a druggie.
Music is my
without
therapy,
realizing.
definitely. I think when I hit the lowest, I sometimes forget, and I'm you know, when you're going around and you're in that low mood, and then I'm like, I need
music,
and I put it on, and before you know it,
I'm up, and
just gives you that hit. And I'm singing. My favorite one at the moment is I just say, Alexa, play. I have to whisper, by the way, otherwise she actually will stop playing music. Play Mariah Carey. Oh, she actually heard me.
She heard you.
I always get like kind of like scared. But anyway, I call her and I say, play Mariah Carey, because obviously she's got hits for days. I know the words to pretty much the song, and I know that if I play her, I can just let it go, or let it go. Me and Ren will sing a bit of Elsa, or like those kind of ones where you just let it out. That is.
Do you find though, like, depending on what you're doing or how you're feeling that day, you'll listen to a certain genre of music depending on how you're feeling? Like for me, I'll go from my musicals, which I love my musicals. That's when I'm like in a silly mood. And then it'll be the ballads where it's like, I'm going to sing. I can't sing for nothing, but I love to sing like along. And then it's your dance like I'm in a party rave. And it's like, it's always them three. Always.
I find when I'm in my bedroom doing laundry, it's the ballads.
Yeah.
Kitchen is the dance, because I want to dance around the kitchen. Or if Remy's with me, then it's the Disney.
Elsa.
Yeah, especially we love a bit of Elsa. But no, that does make a lot of sense. It's like when you're going out for a night out, you want to listen to certain music to get you in the mood, for example.
I used to do that when I used to go out, get ready, listen to the music, have a drink, and it's that whole thing of like, this is all giving me that same feeling. But we do it without even, like, it's at that point now where I don't even realise I'm doing it. I'm like, I just put the music on. But, well, no, I do realise, because I'm like, right, I feel a little bit rubbish. Music always helps me. But I always thought it was just like, I don't know, like everyone just did that. Like everyone just put music on and to give them a boost. people do, but
I'm
for
not
us it's just
allowed.
so intense.
Oh, babe.
Unless you're at Kelly's house and
I'm not allowed. Literally, it's like a Nazi regime in it. I'm not allowed music on. We're not allowed volume on the telly. I'm not allowed my dishwasher on. I'm not allowed my tumble dryer on or my washing machine, and I'm not allowed to cook anything. And it's
Oh my
because he can
gosh.
hear the electricity going into
Mm,
that appliance, and it's so overwhelming for him. You just
mm.
think,
Mm,
I'm not
Remy
going to
went through a
bother.
stage like
But
Yeah.
he likes music in the car, but he only listened to one album, so he knows all the songs and all the words. It's varied.
the acoustics though, Kel. If he likes it in the car
Yeah,
and
he
not in the
does.
house.
He homes in, he tunes into the melody of a song. So he'll be singing
Mhm.
he won't be singing the front of the song. He'll be humming a part of the song where you have to listen really carefully to hear it. That's the loudest part that he
Melody.
That's
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's like Chase.
But-
No, but when I say acoustics, I mean in the house. You know, when you're in different buildings, the sound is received differently. So when Chase was at his previous school, he rarely wore ear defenders. When he moved to the new school, the acoustics in the building, so like the echo, how the sound
Yeah,
is, and so on, he can't go to assembly now without his ear defenders because he gets really overwhelmed. And I know that there's some places where people get things like sound, what do you call it again? You know, like the stuff on the walls and it looks like really
Soundproofing.
yes. Yeah.
soundproofing,
Soundproofing.
that's it. Soundproofing or even soft furnishings and stuff like that can help because there's certain places where we receive things differently. So like
Yeah.
I prefer an open air festival out in the park to being inside the natural venue because the noise is received differently. That's why I love going to places like Ascot and, you know, Garage Nation and stuff like that because it's a different kind of feel, if that makes sense. So it may be that because if he enjoys it in the car, maybe the noise, the way he's hearing it in the house is different even.
Yeah.
Mm.
He just won't. He's just like, turn it off, turn it off. He won't have it. And a lot of it is habit and also control. And it's hilarious because he's the loudest person ever, and his iPad will be on full
Yeah.
volume.
Remy. Sounds like Remy.
Mm.
Tommy's the same, but he will only let me listen to like the first 30 seconds of a song, and he will go through every song on my phone. He's got a real thing at the moment. I'm dreading it because he will come out with it at school, but he's got a right love for drum and bass, which isn't too bad.
Love.
Garage, not problem, but he's got this real fascination with Eminem.
That's
So
Chase's
I'm a bit of a bad mummy because he's like, you know the words, but here, put a song on and he tests me. It's like I can't have music on without him. It turns into a game show, and he will want me to name the song within the first 3 seconds. Otherwise, we'll have to turn it over and do another one. So I'll be out in the kitchen, and I struggle to like cook dinner, do anything without music on because it's like getting in the zone. But he'll come out and he'll be like, it's too loud, and my phone I can barely hear it. But he'll have the TV on. We've got Tom and Jerry going. We've got Ryan's World on the tablet, and then we've got boxing on his phone. And I'm like, I can't
It's
cope
their
with it
control.
all.
Yeah.
It's a control thing.
I
Or I
think-
say to him, just one song, please. Just one song. We'll listen to your song next. And we get 30 seconds in, he's like, I'm bored of this. And it's flick, 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 flick. But if it's a song he likes and a song he picks that I don't like, he'll listen to the whole song.
I got
Oscar
fed up
will
the other
have
day.
music on in the hot tub. So my mum and dad bought Oscar this big flashy hot tub. It's got like all lights, jets. You can put Bluetooth on it. You can have music coming out of speakers and all of that. He will have music on there. But you know if you're allowed to put the music on, because if he has the bubbles on, then he doesn't mind having the music on. But if you don't want the bubbles on, then we don't have no music. Yeah,
Do you know
calm
what
or
makes sense,
busy.
though?
Calm or busy. But he's got a real thing about when you open my back door, the hot tub is like there, and the steps were going at the front to go in. He stopped wanting to go in there. So I put the steps at the side, and he'll willingly get in the side because he feels like that's a bit naughty because you're not really supposed to get in over the side. So with him, it's all about a different view because the steps being at the front and the roof being open like that, that's kind of an unspoken order, isn't it? The steps are there, the roof's off, and you've got to get in that way. Whereas when they're around the side, it's less of a demand.
Yes, yeah.
Same way Remy
Yeah,
likes to
so
have
but
hair on the arm.
we'll soon be at the time of year again where from about February he wants to get in it every day, and sometimes I'm so cold out there because I'm just sitting there like on my phone.
But what you
Um,
said about the bubbles makes perfect sense though, because to me
Yeah.
that is like an indication of moods. Because like when I'm going to do a post, for example, which speaks about traveling on public transport, commuting if you have, you know, sensitivities to certain things. And I know that I recommend, for example, I like to listen to ebooks when I'm on my way, or sometimes music. But I also acknowledge that there are times when I feel overwhelmed with too much going on. So at those times, I prefer to use my loop ear defenders to have silence. So there are times when I feel like I need music. There are times when I feel like I need an ebook and I want to listen and learn something. But there are also times when I need absolute silence and I don't want music. As much as it helps me, there's times when it has the opposite effect and makes me feel overwhelmed. So him, like you say, when he's got the bubbles going and he wants the music, but when it's chill, it's like, no, it's chill time. Do you know what I mean? So that
yeah,
does
and then he
that
just
does
has a
make sense.
hydro. He just
Yeah,
has a hydro, and then he says it's just fizzy because it's
yeah,
not bubbles, but it's almost like the water's carbonated. It's just
yeah.
tiny. Yes,
Because he's so
just fizzy.
sensitive, like you say, and he can feel, like, you know, when you said, you know, when he takes
Yeah,
medication, he can feel his body. To
yeah,
him, those are very important different sensations, and he needs them to match up. So you can't have the chill time with the music, like it doesn't match. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Even down to him getting in the hot tub and it being at the side. Remy won't get on a chair without climbing over the arm. She won't just go and sit on a chair. She has to climb over the arm to get, and I'm worried she's going to literally break my kitchen chairs. But she just feels compelled to do it. So that is actually really interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So
And
should we go
I
back
think,
to the
Corinne, I
dopamine?
think you should talk a little bit about how you dopamine dress, because you are the queen of dopamine
Yeah.
dress.
Well, I didn't
Right.
even know what dopamine dressing was until I saw you do it. And yeah,
But it's
Yeah.
true.
rather
Even on
queen.
those days when I do make an effort, my whole energy is just oozing because I'm obsessed with clothes. Like I love clothes. And it's only really recently when I've been speaking to you guys and actually learned about it. I never knew that that's what it was. But yeah, all for the
Been
The
dopamine.
doing it
dopamine
all along.
dressing,
Such a vibe. Yeah.
it's an
But
interesting thing with dopamine dressing because, you know, obviously people would assume it's just them bright colours, which it tends to be. But for me, it's like I like the bright colours, but I like the neutrals that give me that cool, chill vibe. But it's all mood dependent. Like if
yeah.
I'm feeling like today, I'm feeling in a bit of a, I don't know. I'm not feeling great actually. Like I feel quite ill, but like I'm feeling a bit more like silly. I'll then bring out the dungarees or things
See,
like
I
things
tend
that
to
I love
dopamine
that are
dress in the
different.
nice weather. Do you more? When the weather's nice,
Yeah.
I want to dopamine dress. When the weather's cold, I don't.
I don't know. I
I can't
do.
be
I
really
do
bothered
as
when it's
I
well.
do,
Like,
but
think
I
it
loved
depends
it
on
in the
seasons.
winter.
Yeah, so like in autumn, I'll do my autumn vibe in the winter. But I think you can dopamine dress wearing all
All
black.
year round. Yeah. Yeah.
Wear all black
100%.
and be dopamine dress, and I'll put a bit of red lippy, have my hair sleeked, and I'll have things that kind of fit that vibe. But I do agree though, when the weather's nice, that's when I come into
Yeah,
my
because the dresses come out, the bright
colours
colours
and
come out.
the feel and stuff. But I think you can dopamine dress all seasons and all colours. But I do agree that in the summertime when the weather's, you know, put on the
Yeah,
sunglasses.
you got your sunnies
Yeah,
out.
you can. It's almost masking weather, isn't it? Because you could get in the car to pick your kid up from school or nursery. You might have been crying all morning at a really
You're
sad
like,
story that you've just read about, or whatever, and no one knows.
Yeah,
Sunglasses weather. It's masker's paradise, isn't it?
yeah. But
yeah.
no, I do
See,
think
like,
there's levels to it. Definitely.
so we've got a wedding in April. Luke's brother's getting married, and I'm like planning what I'm gonna wear. I don't want to wear a dress. I want to wear like it's gonna sound really no, it's not gonna sound nothing, Corey, stop it. It's a bit of me. I want like a suit, but like a woman's suit, but like bold. And then we found out the other week that there's a colour code of navy, and now I'm not happy.
What do you
The
mean?
colour dressing. They want us all to wear navy, the family. Like a
Just be the bridesmaids that have those colour coordinates.
I don't know, but that's what they want to do, and I'm like,
Can't you just lie and say you didn't get the message and just wear something else?
And I've been
Or I'll just get like a navy earring or something. Just be like,
yeah,
yeah,
have
but
navy accessory, because you could wear like a nice neutral tone or any color really, and then just have some navy accessories like a belt, some shoes, or
yeah, just something
cowboy.
little.
Yeah.
But like things like that, when I was younger and I used to go out, like out, dopamine dressing. I mean, you will know, like it was like planning the outfits. I want to look great. I want to style everything, and yeah. And then I lost that when I had my kids, as you do. And then only last year I've been like, fuck it, like I'm gonna wear what I want. And
I do
think that
wear what I
part
want. I wear what I want more now,
Mhm.
than I did before.
Mhm.
But yeah, I just dress to how I'm feeling. If I want to wear a green fur coat or a leopard print fur coat, I will.
I love leopard print.
I sometimes get ready and Brendan's like,
You're right.
are you in fancy dress or something?
Yeah. Even the
Like,
other day I wore that
no.
bright pink dress and the blue shoes, and I love a
I
contrast.
love it.
And someone I know, and the thing is, they're like really, you know, them people that always wear like the really safe options. And they messaged, I was like, but does that even match though? They said. And I said, that's the point. It's not supposed to. And those who know, know. So you just maybe don't.
No.
I did it on purpose. Do you know what I mean? Like it was supposed to be a contrast. But I find that, you know, when you do those things and then you finally do step out, because I've had that dress for over a year and I've been wanting to, and I just never had the moment. And then I did, and it was just like, yes, I felt good.
Confident.
And not
Yeah.
even just confident, but
yeah,
the energy felt good. Everything,
Yeah.
like, and not just that, but you know, do you find that when you're trying to also plan a look in your head, when you're someone like us who really thinks about those details, it comes down to every little detail. Like for me, my hair goes with certain, like, so my sleek back hair goes with some looks, the big afro goes with other looks, and then it comes down to like the accessories and the shoes and what kind of lipstick, and those are the kind of fine little details that really matter.
Finishes it off.
And it's so
Yeah.
silly because someone else could be like just put on an outfit, look amazing, and not even think about them things. Whereas to me, if I then leave the house and I've not got the right watch on or the right earrings, and it really affects me, and I'm like, oh my God, and it can ruin the whole thing. That's really
Brendan's
silly,
terrible.
yeah.
Brendan's like, no one cares. No one cares what
Yeah.
you're wearing in your hair. Just
And they
half
probably
an
don't,
hour.
but we do.
You're gonna be like, and I'm like, but I can't
yeah.
decide what shoes. And he's like, just
Yeah.
bring both pairs. We're going now.
Yeah.
Like,
But
no
it's
one
that,
cares.
like,
It's
weird.
so
lovely wearing
important.
it.
And yet no one
It
even
is.
notices. And I do it with my kids as well. Like I love to dopamine dress the kids, like
I do.
myself, because I get that hit. Remy's a bit of me, but those little things, if we then leave and I've like maybe not put the right bow in her hair, it doesn't matter. I know it doesn't matter, but it also does matter. Does that make sense? Like it will ruin, and then I'll be looking at it every so often like, oh, should have remembered to put the bow in or put the right bow in, or just stupid things. But
My thing with the boys at the moment, the oversized and cool. Do you know what I mean? Like drop shoulder.
Yeah.
And like they're really boxy and like wide fitted, and then they've got their skinny jeans on, and I'm like, they don't care, but I'm like, I love how you're looking. It's giving me that buzz, and it's the same feeling with myself. Like I think I have an eyeliner day that makes me feel more rockery. It's gonna sound really bizarre comment, but like really like, oh, that's making me feel more like that. So then I'll dress my clothes to that. But it's like, yeah, it's like with me straightening my hair, then having my curly hair. It's like it depends what mood I'm in as well, and whether I can be bothered to straighten it, which is also another.
And the thing is, some people will watch this and they'll be like, what are you on about? Whereas I'm like, yes, I get that too.
Yeah.
So when it comes to dopamine hacks, there are really, you know, positive and healthy options, but then there are the opposite, which eventually kind of has the opposite effect, because then you get things like guilt and so on. So for the positives, there are things like exercise, healthy eating, achieving goals. So if you set a goal and accomplish it, you get that really good dopamine hit. Listening to music, which is obviously one of our favorites, social interactions, learning. So learning a new skill or learning about something new. Mindfulness and meditation is really good for reducing stress and giving you that dopamine hit. Novelty, which is trying a new experience, certain activities and so on, can trigger a dopamine boost. And laughter. You've also got other things like dopamine dressing, which again, a favorite of ours. Spending time in nature, which I actually did yesterday and really helped. I wasn't necessarily in nature for too long, but just even going out and getting a bit of fresh air and being out with sun shining and so on is a really good one, actually. Acts of kindness, so like helping other people. Creative expression, so maybe writing something or painting or even doing a little bit of what do you call it, styling around the home or creating an outfit, etc. And accomplishing tasks is a really good one. If you have a to-do list and you're ticking it off, it makes you feel like you've been achieving something. And getting positive feedback, so positive praise is a really good dopamine. Then you have the opposite. So the negative dopamine activities, which I know that I am definitely guilty of a lot of these, is excessive spending. When you get those little smiley packages come through from Amazon, or you buy a new pair of shoes or dress that you don't necessarily need, but you get that really good feeling. It lasts not very long, and then you often feel really... So like, I will go on a binge and you see me like I'm got an extra kick in my step, but then afterwards my whole energy is like, why did you do that? I get the guilt. You look at the funds, you look at the clutter that starts to build up and so on. So in the long term, not good. Junk food consumption is definitely one that I've been really, really bad with from really young. Basically the high sugar and high fat junk foods, you get a dopamine spike, but then obviously it's got
that downfall
consequences and health consequences and so on. Exactly. Excessive screen time, so spending too much time on screen, whether it be social media, gaming, binge watching a TV show, etc. Dopamine spike, but it's an unhealthy habit. Procrastination, basically delaying tasks, gives you that short-term relief, but in the long term,
don't get shit done.
No, and then things can pile up. And I, again, so far I'm guilty of all of these. In fact, I think the only one I'm not guilty of on here is substance abuse. So drugs, alcohol, and other substances that can provide an intense, hit of dopamine, but we all know what the negative consequences
impacts.
And you know what? I feel that certain things like substance abuse, gambling is another one, which wasn't on my list, but that's definitely an issue for many people, is gambling, especially for neurodivergent people. We can often be prone to gambling abuse, or what would you call it? Gambling addiction. There we go. That's a gambling abuse. Gambling addiction. That's the term. Those kind of things, I feel like before I was even diagnosed with a neurodivergent condition and knowing that I'm prone to these things, I knew that I was prone to have an addictive personality. So like when I like something, I go all in.
I like it.
I like it a lot. So I've always steered clear of drugs, and I know that if I'm going out and I'm having a drink, I limit myself and stay away from things like gambling and stuff, because I know, even down to saying, I don't want our PS5 in the living room because I will literally then just be addicted. Because when I was younger, I was addicted to the PlayStation and would literally just play and not get anything done. So now I avoid things like that. I avoid having things like Candy Crush on my phone, because I know that once I'm in, I'm in.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just kind of recognizing that in yourself. But what would you say are your dopamine negatives that you are kind of prone to, but also the ones that you've done that are the positives that you can just vouch for and say, yeah, actually they've been amazing for me?
I'd say pretty much all the negatives, apart from the substance abuse, I do to an extent. I'd say the junk food one is a big issue with me. Can't be now I'm celiac, so that's great. That's kind of stopped a lot of that because of health benefits. But I mean, there was a time where we would literally just order a takeaway just to get that boost. And then you just know that once you've eaten it, you're going to feel like crap after. And then you'll be questioning your priorities and what you've been spending money on, which is what we did back at the beginning of last year. But yeah, it's also like the not getting shit done, because I know that it just gets worse. Like, I just think if you're dopamine, like, kind of a bit of advice to someone really, but if you're trying to dopamine hit like the negatives, try and change them around so that they are the positive. So things like if you're struggling to get stuff done because of that, the motivation, get the music out and use that as the tool to help then towards the other stuff. They're all quite connected, actually. Like dopamine dressing with music, getting stuff done. And like, yeah, I think if you just try and change the negative ones that can be lasting, and instead of spending money, save money and have something in plan, or save money for an outfit. Like, instead of, do you know what I mean? Things like that are so easy to do, would be so helpful.
Because even if you say, for example, we know that getting things done is also a positive dopamine hit as opposed to procrastination, even if maybe you was to write a list and those ones that take minimum effort are quickest to do can kind of get you on the path to the positive dopamine.
Yeah.
So, for example, organize your list so that the ones that would take no time at all, like maybe sending that email quickly, which is done, rather than putting it off. Or I don't know, washing those couple of dishes in the sink before they get to the larger amount. Again, it's a quick one. Making that phone call that you've been putting off, or whatever it may be. All the really, really small ones. Put the jumper in the drawer. Those kind of things can then give you the dopamine hit and that feeling of, I'm getting things done. I'm actually,
exactly
accomplishing something. Can then get you on that path to seeking more of the positive dopamine. That's definitely something that's helped me when I managed to actually do it. Obviously, I'm like the worst person at taking my own advice. For the benefit of many people, for their mental and physical health, and I always add physical health in because my mental health affects my physical health, and I know that years it does for many. Just finding those positives that people may not even be aware of, some of the things that we've mentioned on the list, can really help turn things around. And then can, rather than, when you have the snowball effect, that's a negative, you can actually potentially have a snowball effect that's the positives of starting that journey on the right path, which is easier said than done. We both know that, but I guess just trying to implement them things, maybe even finding an accountability partner, or teaming up with someone that has the same struggles, or someone who does get things done, and finding healthy habits that way maybe. But I do know that when you do start to do them things, you will feel so much better for it. I know that when my house is in order and when I've not been spending and when I've been getting things done, my whole vibe is just amazing, and I do soar. But then obviously we all know that
you might have drop. Then burnout hits. And you go down again.
Exactly. And then I start searching for dopamine in the wrong places, because it's a lot easier to put my feet up on the sofa and scroll online and buy something than it is to get up and actually be productive or go
No, I agree.
No, definitely. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Unfiltered, where we've been speaking about dopamine hacks, positive activities for seeking dopamine, and also the negatives, which I'm sure many of us are guilty of. I definitely am. Corinne's admitted to. So
I definitely am.
So maybe if you leave us some comments on what your negative dopamine habits are, but also some positives that we may not have touched on that could help other people to seek dopamine in positive ways, and just for better mindfulness and mental health and well-being. I think it's really important to start implementing them things, but we're all always very conscious of the fact that it's very easy to say and give advice, but we like to acknowledge that actually it is really difficult to follow that advice. I can give the greatest advice ever. Do I follow it always? No. If you have any particular, habits that you find have worked for you, or any that are, that you're finding really difficult, then comment below and give us your feedback, leave us some reviews, ask us some questions. If there's anything that we've discussed today and you want us to speak further on, whatever it may be, we are always happy to talk. As Kelly said earlier, our word count is excessive, but that's just who we are, and we've got loads to speak about. So tune in next week.
We have time for today on the Unfiltered podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate and subscribe, as it helps us get seen. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at UnfiltHERed, and you can also join our Patreon. Our Patreon is £5 a month, and in that you get exclusive blogs, podcasts, bonus episodes, and Q&As with us all. All the links for those are in the show notes. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and remember that
the her is no longer silent. Thank you for listening, and make sure to like and subscribe.